it is to be a single mother. Well, surprise. And all of a sudden, being the difficulties of being a single mother have been elevated because this woman of power and influence has experienced it. And that, I mean, I regret that she has had to experience it, but it is so powerful that she has been able. I mean, you start to see the conversation now, which we've all known all along, how difficult it is to be a single mother and so on and so forth. Happens to Sheryl Sandberg. She now experiences it. She speaks about it. Woo, and now it's on the table. And that's why, if a woman chooses, there ought to be no barriers to her attaining the positions that she wants.
You said also, you talked about policies, and you said that they were not useful, but they are, because if you didn't have normative mechanism, legislation implemented, we wouldn't have been able to have the CEDAW, the Convention on the Elimination against Discrimination, Violence, against women. I mean, and even NGOs, individuals can complain. So, if you think of all these girls who have been victims of violence and who have been forced to marry at an early age, they don't go to school. So when they are mothers and grandmothers, they want to have their own enterprise, and so it's good for them to have a lifelong training. So this is to be part of the legislation for education for these girls who had to drop out of secondary schools or even at primary schools, and they are not educated. So I think it's very important. And really, it's not a leadership for the sake of leadership. It's just for the best of the world and the sustainable development world. To be on our sides. And also we have, we implement, for example, we work with the French government, the BPW work with the French government and also in Germany, and they have pushed for quotas, even though we don't like quota because it can be like tokenism, but it's not, because in the end, people will apply the same because they will see that they are good leaders.
I understand all those dynamics. I do. I'm not being disrespectful at all. I'm giving a polar view so that each person can find their centre. It's not. I don't mean to be disrespectful.
Yeah. And also we have the WEPs, which are the Women Empowerment Principles, and we work with the UN Global Compact with companies, and so they can sign it, and so we have a monitoring of women being included at all levels of the companies. So this is reality. I think that yes, we're here for that, right?
Absolutely.
Serve all, etc. We want a 50-50 planet. That's all. And we're not talking about us here because we're here, but also about all these girls, like for example, who have been abducted by Boko Haram, and some of them are prostitutes in Paris, and and there are so many of them, everywhere, and they don't go to schools, and so we are there to give them a voice, and we are there to make them become leaders, but in that sense of transformational leadership. Thank you.
And I think one issue combined to that is the monitoring. And that is one of the most important things. And I'm coming from a country where we have both a gender and discrimination ombud. We have a public institution which is actually monitoring the whole diversity, also when it comes to discrimination. Or now we have a number of new Norwegians who have come as refugees, and they're monitoring them if they are discriminated against, men and women. But the gender ombud, she is looking at the balance between men and women. So we had this institution was established 1972, in the early 70s, and as you may remember, we had the first environmental minister of Europe, a woman, Gro Harlem Brundtland, who was later the WHO Director General. She was prime minister for 16 years and made enormous impact on the country in terms of gender equality. But she was the reinforcing this ombuds institution, which is actually monitoring whether women and men get the same opportunity in country when it comes to employment, when it comes to education opportunities, when it comes to discrimination. So she's overseeing exactly the CEDAW, the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. But she's also looking at people like me with the white hair, because we have something called anti-age discrimination, which is also under that ombud, which is but it's important. And the other issue I wanted to say as well is that there is this global coordinated monitoring. For example, we have now compulsory 40% women in all boards, whether they are public or private. And I tell you, it makes a difference. Because before, men would put all the men, all their friends, into the boards. And then they said, we didn't find any qualified women. No, no qualified women. Now, they are by law being told that they have to find those women. And if they're not qualified, they have to build them. They have to build them. They have to give them opportunities to realize their full potentials under leadership of some of those business schools and some of those opportunities that we have. So I think there are many opportunities actually to realize women's potentials if we are giving the opportunities. We talk more about this tomorrow. If you want to come and listen to me, I'm going to have my Norway. Yeah, oh yeah. Everybody says, oh yeah, but you can get there. You can get there if. Yeah, no, but it's a. Yeah, it is. It's a legislation. It's a law. It's by law. It's by law, and I think, and you can all get there by
I and sometimes it happens without regulations. There are three countries in the world where there are more women in managerial positions than men. Jamaica is one of them. That creates another set of dynamics in terms of the marginalization of men, which we will not go into. So it's great that the conversation has moved from women to gender, because the balance is important. We're here to be balanced. However, even with that type of cultural dynamic of these Jamaican women, we Jamaican women, the boards, the higher levels, there's still a paucity of women. So I have been on boards where, honestly, I've been the token woman. And the guys kind of say, yeah, we have Marguerite on the board. Okay, we're okay now. So you do need that type of regulation to move the culture to where you want it to go. It's absolutely important and it's valuable.
Final word maybe. The Women Economic Forum's Gender Gap Report says, and that's about monitoring, there's a positive correlation between women's empowerment, GDP per capita, and human development. And that's the Women Economic Forum Gender Gap Report.
That's I gave some statistics